Okay, going live in 3, 2,
All right.
1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first round of our Gran Turismo and ODE to GT Sport, the game that we've loved for so long. And this long tournament that's going to last for the next 7 weeks, we hope. The first race today is for our Group B boys. I have been joined by the Ancient Pleb. Pleb, tell us about what your thoughts are.
Yeah. Firstly, welcome to all the guys who are going to be watching this. It's going to be really fun, and since we're having our last couple of races now on GT Sport before the arrival of 7, so we've had a lot of good time on this game and a lot of tournaments that have taken place. A lot of good. It's all going to come down to this, and I think both the groups today and tomorrow is going to be really fun. It's really exciting.
Absolutely. So while the viewers are looking at some of the shots that our guys have taken, the qualifying has actually started. We're just making sure that there are no glitches or anything like that. Doesn't look like there is. So we
Looks
should
like
be
everybody
away.
is off.
Everybody is, which is actually this is like a nice thing to have when you're hosting a GT Sport lobby, right?
I know,
Where
with all the pit glitches and everything. So
exactly. So why don't we, Pleb, why don't you talk to us a little bit about the track? I'm just going to set some things up and then we jump straight into qualifying.
yeah, sure. So right now, as uh, the track for the first race is at Blue Moon Bay in Field A, but it's a reverse version. So I think this track, there are a certain corners which you should be aware of, which is I would say that you would have to take it a bit carefully because it's the risks of rewards and like messing up is equally same. So I think for qualifications, everyone is usually always tensed, especially me. And but luckily these guys have, I think, 15 minutes for qualifications, so there's a lot of time. Unless it's 5 minutes, and then it's very risky, and you just get one hot lap, and then everything is on the line. But here you get, I think you can probably change tires twice during this quali. So let's see how it goes. I think the qualification has started anyway, and now we are. Looks like everybody is settling in for now.
Yeah,
And
so also I want to give everybody a breakdown of all the people in this group, the Group B, which is the second tier. So we have Dwayne, and this the list that you see is based on the qualifying that these guys had to undergo before the races actually started. So we have Dwayne at the very top on this group with an RCZ. We have Ankur Agarwal, the wildest monk, with an AMG GT3, which is a very interesting choice. The RCC and the AMG are very interesting choices. Aniket, who's fiercely in the Toyota Supra. Karan in the Porsche 911. Junior Bond in Nissan GTR, which is a very, very rapid car. And then Dinesh in the Porsche 911 as well. Then there's another Dinesh who is in the Toyota Supra, so that's going to be interesting to watch. We
yep,
have Ashish in the Dodge Viper, which gets massive starts off the line. We have Zolo in the Mazda RX Vision GT, which is such a delight to the ears, and
it
just
is,
screams. It screams all
and
the
it's
time.
good on fuel saving as well. So
Exactly.
good choice.
Sushant, and Tariq are not taking part this week, but we should have them for next week. Um, let's jump in to the qualifying. Now, Ankur is in position 1, Crispy
107
Bacon.
and 9.
Yeah, which is a good time to
It's a
have, don't
good
you
lap.
think?
Yep. Yeah. Anything, I would say any lap in the late 107s or mid 107s is a very good lap.
Absolutely. And I'll just pull up some race information. There we go. Okay, so Ankur, the wildest monk, in first position, who's actually just set a 107.7 Which is a
7.
very good time for him. Crispy Bacon is in second, not too far, just about 3 tenths between them.
Looks like
Uh,
it is pretty close by. Yeah.
Fierce B right there. I actually pull up their lap information as well, so we can actually look at what these guys are doing. So Fierce B did a 108.4, which is a good time. Karan is about a 109.2, so we can obviously see the gap between these guys now.
I think few
Um,
guys actually did have a couple of incidents as I was watching, and so maybe that has affected their times.
Maybe. So yeah, there's how should I say this? It's just the first few minutes. I think the first 5 minutes are up. They
Yep.
they they
Yeah.
do have an option to qualify for 15 minutes straight. So that's actually a good thing because if you make mistakes, you can obviously come back from it. Shaz and Mehul in the chat saying my voice is a little low. I hope this is better, guys. I just increased the volume a little bit. Uh, but yeah, tell us your feedback. Tell us your predictions. What do you think is going to happen? Um, and so we're looking at Junior
It's
Kickass, yeah, which is a nice name to have. I think we'll get if we were
yeah.
monetized, we would have gotten demonetized straight away for just for saying that name. And Dinesh in a 110.5, which is not bad in the Super. Obviously, these guys will set faster times as the fuel runs out and they get on a fresh set of tires as well.
Yep.
Uh, Burst mode, that is Ashish, if I remember correctly, is on a 110.8. So these guys are quite bunched
I
up,
think
the ones for fourth, fifth, and
uh
sixth.
I think Abby, I think it looks like Dinesh has exited the qualifications. He is not in it.
Oh yeah, it does look
He
like
has
Dinesh has gotten disconnected or something. So while
he
we're
is in the
looking
lobby.
at
Yeah, but I think he must have some issue.
okay, so while we're looking at the wildest punk, actually he just started a fast lap, so maybe we can go on board him.
Yep.
Just see how he's taking. Take us through this lap, and I'll try and get in touch with Dinesh.
So as you guys saw, I think his first T1 was pretty strong. And going into these corners, it's always important to get the right turn in so that you hit the apex. It's all about entry speed and exit. Oh, looks like he's giving way for crispy bacon. All right.
Okay,
So
so
I
let's
think we
go on
can.
board Crispy Bacon then, and see what
Yep.
he's doing.
So he's actually his lap time is very close. It's within. It's like 0.098 of the wildest monk.
I
So I
just
think
saw that it's just 900ths of a second between those guys, so it's
exactly.
very, very close.
I think if he can nail all of his corners, he should easily be able to beat that time. It's always very like you get a lot of confidence when you see that your time is like within like within a very small margin of P1, and that confidence is more than enough for you to not make any mistakes and just put in a really quick lap. It has happened a lot of time in my case. So every time you see that you are closing up on the leader, you get more confident and you try to set much better and consistent laps.
Absolutely. Let's do something. Let's clear our screen a little bit and just look at the cars going through. Maybe not even have the player names, to be honest. We'll just pull up some information as and when they go along. So you'll see
Yeah.
some of their information on the right hand side as to their best lap and what's the interval, their position, all of that. So if we look at Crispy Bacon, 107.6, just 900ths of a second between him and Wildest Monk, who has done a 107.5, which is a blisteringly
It
quick time for that Mercedes, don't
It
you think?
is, it is. And the Mercedes is an all-round car, so it's a very safe car as well. So I think he chose this so that he could be more consistent and not worry about oversteers or understeers or any of those issues. And cars like this and the Supra, they are quite safe options when it comes to the Group 3 cars.
That is true. The Supra is rapid in a straight line,
It is
and it does use less fuel as you go along. So I'm looking at
exactly.
Bukaran. He just dived into the pits to change tires, so that's fine. who is this? This is Fierceby with a 108.4, which is not a bad lap. But the thing is, if you look at the bottom right of your screen, he's just 1/100th of a second behind Bukaran. So
behind
this is,
Bukaran.
yeah, so this is
Their laps
very,
are
very
quite good.
exciting.
And even Zolo is 600s behind Fierce So I think P3, P4, P5 are very, very close. Their laps are really close to each other.
So we do have a few chats that are coming in. Um, Dan Loco, or Dan Lord, I should say. He said the sound is good, and that's fine. His prediction is Monk, Zolo, and Fierce for the podium. Okay, that's a bold prediction
It
considering
is.
Zolo has not really practiced that much. Mehul, or as we all know him as Pagal Raja Jr., says
Pagal
a
Raja, yes.
107.5. That's insane. Yes, it is, especially in that car. And Cafe Racer Shabazz, which is Shaz, as we all know, says there's no beating
Yes.
Monk tonight. He should have been in Group A. Well, I think we share that feeling. I think the only reason he's in Group B is because he had no practice whatsoever for the qualifying. But again, as in when the group stages go on, at the end everybody will be bunched up together anyway. So you have a good chance of punting him onto the corner sometime if you wanted to. Uh, Shevaz also says 7.6 on the RCZ is unreal. It is definitely unreal, and it looks like he has practiced quite a bit.
Yes. I think all these guys have chosen their cars and put in a good amount of practice time for their qualies. I think, especially when it comes to tournaments, it is very important that you know your car so that you know how much you can push it and what tracks would suit your car and what tracks wouldn't. So you can play along with your strategies as you go.
Absolutely. And I was actually looking at Crispy Bacon, thinking that maybe Monk was in his slipstreams. He just got a nice view, but Monk is too far behind to actually gain any
Yep, he is.
advantage off of that. But the gap between these guys is still 900ths of a second. Somebody
And
just set, so Bukan setting a
I think it
107.8.
is, yep, Bukaran has improved a lot. So if you see, I think everybody from P1 down till I think P4 to P5, everyone is within close to half a second from Monk. So it's really close. Half a second is it's probably just someone going a bit wide on one of the corners, and that's probably just the difference between their laps. So they are quite close. So I think if everyone just all these guys from P2 to P4, if they can put in a really good lap, they can probably beat Monk and take P1.
Absolutely. It's just a matter of keeping consistent lines and making sure that you don't scrub too
Yep,
much speed, especially in the high speed corners. So I'm looking at this, and if you're looking at my screen as well, Pleb, so the gap between the top four is just 2/10, like almost, I mean,
exactly.
I would say 3/10 of a second, which is
It's very
very,
close.
very close. The next guy, which is Zolo, is about 4.5 tenths behind Bukaran. So Zolo has a lot of catching up to do, but you know what? I just want to go on board Zolo because the car that he's riding is just
I am
so,
exactly.
so
I was
amazing.
actually being on board Solo, and it is the thing with this car is it's very good on fuel saving and it's good on tires. But when it comes to straight line speeds, it suffers a bit compared to the other cars. Maybe that's where he's probably losing some of his time.
That does make sense. So he's trying to get behind Junior
The
to get
GTR,
into his
yes.
stream. Let's look at Junior's perspective, and we'll look behind at Solo. I don't think he's that
No, I don't
close to
think.
get into the slipstream.
Yeah, that is not close enough. He's probably around like 8 to 9 tenths ahead, junior. So I don't think this is enough. Yeah, this is not going to be enough for the slipstream. Maybe he was
Absolutely.
trying to car the right distance, but that shouldn't that wasn't close enough.
So let's just stay on board Zolo because, frankly, I just love the sound. Oh, why? Whenever a commentator says something nice about the car or the driver, he just messes up. It's
Something always happens.
he was
It's there
having
in
a
all
nice lap.
tournaments. Yep,
He was having a
you
nice
mentioned
lap,
their
and he
name,
just
and
slid across. Oh,
but I think now he is within slipstream range. So if he can maintain this, he can gain some time, unless he doesn't run into Junior. He's already
Yeah, so
1/10 up
yeah,
ahead.
he's already very, very close to Junior. So let's go on board and just look at Zolo. Look at how close he
So it's
gets
close.
at the end, like,
I think
in
now he
that
will have a
corner.
good run.
Yeah, he will have a
Yep.
good run if Junior backs out of this run. Just gives Zolo the slipstream, which I don't think he will, because all of these drivers are
Okay.
just trying to focus on each other. So,
He did improve. So
oh, that was a touch between Zolo and
I know.
Junior. So no, none of these drivers are backing down. Let's look at what's happening
Oh,
with
I think Zolo is okay.
Dinesh here. Um, he's driving the Supra. He's about 1.2 seconds behind Monk, but only 500ths behind Junior. So I think there is some pace there. I think he should be able to catch up. But burst
He
mode, it shows that he has not done much practice.
Either
Um,
that or maybe he's finding it tough on the Viper because the Viper is a bit tricky in certain corners and on certain tracks.
exactly.
So
So
might be a
Wildest
car
Monk,
issue
at
as well.
least let's go through our lineup once again. Wildest Monk, wow, what a lap. A
107.3. That's it.
107.361. It's an
That is a very good
amazing,
lap. Yep.
amazing lap, right? Just after him is Crispy Bacon, about 2/10, about 2.5 tenths, maybe 3 tenths behind him. Fierce
Even that is a
B,
great lap. 107 mid 107s are
oh
really
yeah,
quick laps.
absolutely, no questions. In the RCZ, that's a blisteringly quick lap.
Yeah.
And as these guys come on to the finish line as well. So Fierce B is about 3 tenths behind Monk. Karan is about 4 tenths behind Monk. And I think Zolo and Junior have just given up for their times for now.
I think the
Junior is about,
qualification is
yeah,
yeah,
the
it's
last lap
done
of
anyway.
qualification is
So
done anyway. So Zolo is about like 10th and a half behind Karan. Junior is about 7 tenths behind him. And at the very back is Burst Mode, who is about 3.5 seconds behind
seconds. Hmm.
Wildest Monk. And I don't think he has enough time to actually get another lap in. Now,
No, I don't think so. Yeah. This is his final lap. So this is going to be his last lap. So I don't think he has any more chance.
exactly. Let's try something. So it's going to be a standing start. All of the other guys have completed their runs. Uh, Santosh says we will witness the super battle between P1 and P2, which is true, Santosh. That's definitely going to happen. Let's see what's going to be happening at the uh, turn one. Is what I'm thinking is where
I
most of the
think
carnage is going to be.
PSB might lose out on the start because he's on the Supra, and Wuferin might uh, take his place because the Porsche has, I think, a better start compared to the Supra. Although they both have actually quite bad starts when it comes to standing starts. So let's see what happens now.
Okay, so I'm going to set a mental replay marker just for this instance. Let's see what's happening. Let's just pray and hope that everybody gets through
Goes
without any
into
hitches.
T1.
Exactly.
Yep. This can be a tricky T1 if everyone is conscious.
All right, guys. We have lift off. These guys are gonna get through. Monk gets a perfect start, followed closely by Crispy Bacon. Burst mode is up into third place. That's amazing. Junior is dropping to
Last
fourth.
three.
Karan is in fifth, Zolo sixth, PSB seventh, and Dinesh at the end. It looks like everybody is going through cleanly,
Oh,
and there
okay.
is, there
Oh
is.
no, I think, yep,
So
EB has had
Zolo,
an incident.
yeah, Zolo has had an
Uh,
incident. We'll
Along
just
with Zolo.
we'll just try and go back and see if you're able to get something out of that. So here's everyone at the start. While the race progresses, we'll just try and get. Let's see what happened with Zolo. So we'll go on to his perspective. Um, so they're preparing for the start. They are just waiting for the lights to go. Okay, looks like we're gonna have to wait a little bit for the replay to come through, but that's fine. The race is going on. in the background, so
Yep.
don't worry about that. We'll get you the live action as soon as we're done with the replay. And okay, so Zolo gets a good start, better than Fierceby in the Supra, but the thing is, everybody gets a better start
Look
in the
at
Supra.
burst mode though. He's from all the way from the back. He's up in P3.
Exactly.
Just the
We will
start.
look at. So there was a little bit of an incident between Karan and Fierceby, nothing major. So we're looking behind Zolo, and as he's trying to brake, oh, he just forgets where to. I don't think he got hit or anything like that. So
No, I do not think.
maybe we come back into that. Zolo is
Yeah,
now
I
up
don't
into
think
sixth
he did get
position.
hit.
And
And
okay, so there has been a switch in the lead.
yep,
Wildest
I was just
Monk
about to say
and
that.
Crispy Bacon are fighting. So this is going to be very, very interesting, you guys.
So they both
Look at
are
that. How
at
far
their
ahead?
next.
They're already 3.6 seconds ahead of the field. So the people who predicted that P1 and P2 are going to have a fight, they were right. This
I think
is
both of them, yes, both of them have carried their fight much ahead of PSP and Kukaran. So I think P1 and P2 are
Look at that
at
monk
their own
trying to
fight.
break the toe. Let's go on board. Let's look at Crispy Bacon. He's flashing his lights, letting him know, bro, I'm here. You cannot just run away. So I think Crispy Bacon gets a weird exit out of this fast right-hander onto the oval, but look how close he gets under braking.
I think,
Let's see. Okay, so
yeah,
what these guys are doing is, at least Crispy is, he's trying to stay behind Monk as much as he can, and look at how close these guys are. And look at Fierceby. He's just too far away. So we'll also look at other action that's going on. But Pleb, tell me your thoughts on first and second.
yeah, I think what would be really good for Crispy right now is to stay behind Monk and save his tires and fuel. So if he plays it right, he can jump Monk at the pits with a sufficient lead and maintain that lead. So if he can get more than a second lead on Monk towards the end, I think he can easily take this, because as we've seen in a lot of tournaments, P2 and P3 are the guys that have a very good chance of
And
always
while you
taking
say
out
that,
P1.
look at how close Crispy Bacon gets to Monk. I think he's just trying to lift off, getting easy
Is yes,
into this corner, just trying to be as patient as he can. But the problem here is that Monk will always see him in his right view mirror, right? You just never know. You just never
but
know what the guy behind you can do. So Crispy's I think he's just trying to save his tires. But I'm
yeah,
also looking at Fiercely. The gap is not really coming down. It was about 3.6 seconds before. It's about 3.5 seconds now. And
I think
he's
that
just,
is yeah, I think that is probably because P1 and P2 aren't really fighting. So I think maybe that is the reason PSP isn't catching them as soon as you might expect him to. But I think
absolutely.
now Monk has taken a small lead. He's out of this slipstream range.
Yes, he's about 8 tenths. No, I think
I think now
he got a
he's
bad exit. But yeah,
he's just there though. He's just on
yeah,
the boundary.
he's just on the edge of it. So Crispy, I think he's okay. He's okay letting Monk go through at a higher pace. He knows that Monk is going to be burning his fuel, and if he's able to save his fuel, he can just jump him into the pits. And so I'm looking at the comments here as well. People are praising Crispy Bacon, saying we have found another fast driver in the Indian sim racing community, and that is true. He's just
Exactly.
surprised
I
us
was
all,
thinking the
didn't
same
he?
thing. I think I've never. I think this is the best performance I am seeing from PSP. I have never. I don't think in our last tournaments he was this quick. So in this, he has either really put in his time and improved a lot, or he already was this and we just didn't notice. But I think now he has, as far as I can see, he has improved a lot. So he's right there with Monk. He's just under a second. So
Right.
he can still do his fuel saving and tire saving and not lose a lot of time unless Monk is pushing.
Absolutely. And the best thing is that to be stuck behind, or wouldn't even say stuck, to be behind a driver like Monk, you get to learn a lot just by looking at how he takes his lines,
Yep.
right? So Monk is one of the most consistent drivers that we have in our group. But okay, let's not spoil the party for these guys with our commentators curse. Let's look at Fiersby. So, okay, so Fiersby has lost quite a lot of time. He's about
He has lost
6.5
another 3 more
seconds.
seconds.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, pretty sure he just made a mistake somewhere. Um, Zolo is about 2 seconds behind Fiersby, closely followed by Karan. So, I think this is another area, third, fourth, and fifth, that we might see a fight brewing very soon. Um,
Yep. They are slowly starting to punch up.
yep. Junior is, at least for right now, he's in a league of his own. But I've got to talk about that livery as well, right? The shiny, flaky green with the white with the zero zero
It
seven
is.
logo. I
It
think
does
is
glow with the light pretty well.
yeah, exactly. So I think he's adopted the 007 moniker quite well.
Yep.
Burst mode is in seventh. It's about 16 seconds
He's
behind
almost
Junior.
15 seconds
So yeah,
behind.
the lack of practice.
He did have, yeah, and he did have a couple of incidents on T1, I mean on lap one, so that has cost him a lot of time.
Absolutely. So I'll make the screen a little bit clearer for everyone to just enjoy the liveries and the racing. Remember, we have quite a long time to go. So I think we still have about 20 minutes to go through for the
22
race.
minutes. Yep.
So 22 minutes still remaining. I think Monk has gotten a nice lead over Crispy Bacon. Quite a nice lead.
He must have missed this while we were on board the others. He does have 5 second lead on
So
Crispy.
maybe let's see if our replay caught something like that. So okay, so right here, he's behind Monk. Okay, so I think this is like a very
This is
early
lap
replay that
3,
we're looking
yeah.
at. We're just looking
I
at
think
lap number 3.
this incident must have happened, I'm guessing, lap 5 or 6.
Yeah, but this is nice to watch too. Like he's getting so close, and you can hear when he lifts off. Right, he doesn't want to go past Monk. But the problem is Monk is so consistent that if you let him go, he is gone.
He's gone, exactly.
So I think
That's it with being consistent, right? If you can get the lead over a second from the guy behind you, all you have to do is just stay consistent.
yeah,
So your consistent pace will always help you maintain that lead.
absolutely. And the other thing is that I don't think Fierce B is too close to him anyway. So it looks like he's in a race of his own. So he has to make the decision now whether I save fuel or whether I just go for it and catch up to Monk. Because even if he tries to save fuel, I don't think the pit loss is enough to cover 6 seconds for him if he tries saving fuel right now. So I think he
Yeah,
has to
6
just go
seconds
for it. What are your
might.
thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make up those 6 seconds. He can maybe try. I mean, let's look at their fuel levels right now. So, PSP and PSP. I think PSP does have a tad bit more fuel than PSP. And Wildest and Monk, he also does have more than. He surprisingly has a bit more than Crispy Bacon. So I think he has done his share in fuel saving and maintaining that pace, which is very good. It's a win-win situation. So I think now PSP is slowly catching up. He's under 3 seconds to PSP, and Zolo has made a move on Bokaran. Uh, he's 3.5 seconds ahead already. So I
Wow,
think we can
that's a
see
big gap.
Zolo. Yeah, if Zolo can maintain this, he can catch up PSP and eventually Crispy. That should be good.
Let's see if our replay cameras caught that. So Zolo is okay. So within our replays as well, we were not able to catch that incident, but don't worry. We're still getting used to it, the whole replay function. We'll try to
Yep.
be as nice as possible in the upcoming races. But yeah, Zolo has made a move. He's up into fourth, 11 seconds behind Monk. 2.3 seconds behind Fierceby in third, which is not a bad place to be in, don't you think?
And I think it looks like he did quit on his last lap, so he's a black marker right now in front of Crispy, along with burst mode as well. So usually what happens with black markers is, I mean, if they go out of the way, then it's not an issue. But if they don't, then it's kind of a chance for someone else behind to catch up.
Yeah, and obviously
We've seen that a
it
lot of
also
times.
depends on where on the track you encounter those back markers. Like if you encounter them on the
Exactly.
straight, it's fine. You just glide past them. But in those slower corners, like you can't really try to go too wide because you just dip one wheel onto the grass and it's game over for you.
It is exactly. And now I think Monk is he's he's gone. He's 7 seconds ahead right now. So I think he's slowly pulling away from Crispy. And I think the tires are also slightly better on Monk, especially the front two tires.
And he's
So I
just done
think
a
he
107.9 as well, which is a very good lap time in this stage of the race.
it is exactly. And
All
then
right, Brett.
I think
All right, Brett. Tell me about your predictions. What are you thinking?
so. I think right now Zolo does have a good chance of catching P3 and P2. And if he does that, I think we might see Monk at P1 if he maintains this lead, and maybe Zolo in either P3 or P2.
Okay.
I think it's going to
So,
be Monk, Zolo, and Crispy.
all right. So Crispy is about I just saw about 7.2 seconds behind Monk. So yeah, this is slipping away very quickly for him.
Yeah,
Fierce B is in third, who is about 2.9
he's pretty
seconds
much, yeah, he's
behind.
pretty much maintaining that gap
Yeah, he's
between
he's
two and a
maintaining that
half to
gap.
3 seconds.
But the thing about that Supra as well is that the Supra is going to be low on. I mean, he's going to be saving fuel as well. So let's look at Crispy Bacon, and if I go back to back on to
He
Fierce B,
has,
you can see he has just a little bit of fuel. For the uninitiated in the audience, what you're looking at the bottom of your screen right now is all of the information that is presented to the drivers, and there's something that we can look at as well. So the very first graphic that you see at the bottom left is the tires and the state of them. So red means that part of the tire is gone, which is essentially a percentage. So if we're looking at Fierce B right now, we can say confidently that about 20% of his front left tire is just gone.
yep,
To the right of the tire graphic is the fuel. So that's pretty self-explanatory. It's empty to full, and then you can check with the white bar as to how much fuel is remaining. So you'll be able to calculate it that way. The drivers can actually see how many laps they will be able to run on that amount of fuel which they have. So that's a plus point to have for the drivers. Uh, and the rest of it is, just their speed, the gear that they're in, and all of that. So Zolo, I'm going to look at Zolo a little bit as well.
he has. I know he has actually caught up now, pretty much. He's
Yeah, so
close
he
to a
is,
second behind PSG.
yeah, and so he's about a second behind Fierce B, but he's getting the slipstream from Dinesh.
Of yep.
Dinesh just tries a little bit of a move, which
Okay, yeah.
that's going to be a
I
little
think
difficult to
that's
explain.
a very tricky corner for the back marker as well, for him to go offline.
Oh,
But I don't
and
know is fighting.
Dinesh just dives in to make the corner. I don't think he's having a very good race. So he's going to be hearing some words of wisdom from our guy Zolo after the race is done. But so okay, so we are on board
He is
Zolo
now
right
off the
now.
issue. Yes.
He is about 1.2 seconds, so he did lose a couple of tenths, going through that entire debacle with the back marker. Well, that's fine. There's still about 15 minutes of the race remaining. Now, this is the point where these guys start to come up and
I think yes, Monk has
change
quit,
tires.
and he does have more fuel than Bacon.
Okay, so Monk and Crispy Bacon both have pitted.
Zolo and PSB both have pretty much the same amount of fuel, so they might be very close to Crispy when they come out of the pit, assuming they have calculated their fuel correctly, because that is always an issue when it comes to lobby races.
Okay, so Monk
This-
comes out of the pits. No sign of Crispy Bacon just yet. I think
He
he's
has
filling up.
already-
Yeah. So he's about 11 seconds
Yep.
behind.
They are all pretty close. P3, P4, P5 are very close.
Wow. Okay, so this is going to be interesting.
This
Just
is going to
9
get close
tenths
towards the
between
end.
fourth and fifth, and just about a second between
Oh
third
no!
and
And
Solo makes a mistake. And that is the problem. We get our hopes up a little too early.
I think he had some issue over there because he must have understeered a lot. Uh, So yeah, and it's fresh tires, but it is racing softs though. I'm not exactly sure what happened to him. He did understeer a lot and go into the grass. We'll have to know what happened.
So this is how he should take the corner. He did that in lap 10, but he just messed up big time just about now.
That would have been very exciting to watch all three of them battle it out towards the end. And there's around just another 13 minutes left. So I think it will be a good battle between Frisbee and PSB if PSB can close the gap.
Absolutely. So Bhukaran stayed out for another lap and he's been jumped by everyone into the pits. Fiersby is about 1.8 seconds behind Crispy Bacon, so he has lost a few tenths as well. And Solo is now about 4.7 seconds, 4.8. So
That
yeah, that's bad news for
turn
him.
cost him. Yeah, it cost him a lot.
Okay, so Bhukaran has come out of the pits about 49 seconds in front of Junior. It's a sizable lead right now, and it's increasing every passing moment. So I'm not really sure what's going on with this guy. He has the fuel. He's on the medium tires. Okay,
I think he is. He is on the mediums.
so do you think he's trying to get like a
But
very
you,
very late stop?
but on mediums, I don't really see the point. Right? Everyone else is on softs, and he still has to pit either way. So no, I don't think it's going to work out for him.
All right, so people in the chat who are saying that Pleb's mic is a little buggy. Yes, it's a software issue. I just checked.
Oh,
So we
okay.
can't really do it for this stream. So you just have to bear with us for a little bit. But that's the problem with softwares, right? They don't work when you really want them to.
I know. I think during the practice session, it was much better.
Yeah,
But
I
something
think
always
when
has
we
to
practiced
happen.
everything, yeah, something always has to happen in the first stream. Like our replay camera is not working properly. But okay, so I'm still going
I
through the
think it should
gap
all,
between all
yeah,
these
all of
drivers.
these issues, I guess, would start getting better
Yeah.
race by race.
So Monk, who is about 12 and a half seconds ahead of,
He's just flying right now. He
yeah,
knows he's going to take this win, so he's just, it's probably just a casual race right now for him. He's just peace of mind, and there's no one in front of him, no one behind him, and usually when you're like this, when there's no pressure, uh, very rarely do we make any mistakes.
yeah,
So he's
absolutely.
probably
And
just
Monk is not known for making mistakes like this. Like
exactly.
he's super consistent when it comes down to actual proper racing. Um, I just love his livery as well, with the blue and the yellow. So
Yellow.
these guys have
Yep.
spent a lot of time. The people who are watching, these guys have spent a lot of time trying to get these liveries up to code, including logos of other sponsors that they like. There's no mandatory logos or anything like that. I'm just going to cycle through the field because it looks like there's a bit of a gap here and there as Monk just dispatches DB, or DB just moves aside, to be honest. So let's look at Crispy Bacon. So this nice orange livery that we have on him. Not much in terms of stickers or anything like that.
Decals. Yep. It's a pretty. Okay, it's a two-tone paint job.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's just a two-tone paint job, not much. Just our Simnation India logo on the side. And this, I love this blue as well.
I think
From
we must give credit to. I think it was who was it? I think it was Moons, right? Who made the logo?
Absolutely,
The
a
new
lot of
logo.
the credits. Yeah, a lot of the credits go
Yeah,
to
it's a very nice logo.
Month as well. He made a lot of variations that people will be able to
Yep.
use, and he frankly just donated his time for the community, which is wonderful to see. So it's
I know.
not
Yeah.
just a few of us doing this. The more and more people are joining in all the time. So yeah, Fiersby with this black and blue logo on the Supra. What's the gap between those guys? It's about 1.9 seconds. I don't think we're going to be seeing much action. And yeah, similarly, blue logo on Zolo's car as well, who is right
Solo
now
has
about
gone with the
6
chrome. I think. I
seconds.
think that is chrome. Yeah, that should be chrome.
Yeah, it's a
I think
blue
so. Yeah.
chrome, blue shiny chrome, and a few stickers here and there. Um, let's look at also. So our guy Karan in the Porsche 911, which is actually a very good car for
It
this
is
track.
really a great car. I think ever since GT Sport came out, it was always one of the favorite go-to cars for Group 3. So it still is. It's a fantastic car. It does everything right. Unless you're up against a GTR in a straight line. Apart from that, I think it does everything right.
Absolutely. Um, so people in the chat are requesting for lap times. We'll get to that. Look at this GTR from Junior, the green and the white. We talked about this livery with the 007 and everything. So
Yeah,
he's in the mood. It's for, at least in the livery front, but he's about 26 seconds
I think as
behind
you're saying
Zolo.
that, I was just on board with Solo, and he is making a few mistakes. He did go wide, and he's lost a few more seconds with PSP. Yeah,
That's
I think.
never a good sign, right? So he's about 8 seconds behind Fierce now. I think the
Mm,
lack of practice is what's the issue here. So somebody in the chat wanting to know lap times as well. So while we look at DB's livery, I'm just going to turn on the. Give me one sec. Okay, I'm just going to turn on the. Okay, okay, here we go. So Monk is okay by his name, so he's very consistent. He's about in the
majority of his, I think majority of his laps are in the 107, which is a very good sign.
which is a very
So
good sign. Um, Crispy is, I think he's hovering around the 108. He gets to
late
107
107.
sometimes, yeah, but
Yeah,
he's hovering around the 108 marks. Fierce B is look at the inconsistency here, right? He would be so happy to get that 107.7, right? And then he goes
yeah,
and
and
does a
then
108.3 on the
the
next lap.
I think he is pushing right now. Since there's just 6 more minutes, he might be pushing and trying to catch Crispy right now. So maybe that is why we are seeing slight differences in his times.
And the fastest that Zolo has done is a 108.2, which I
Hmm.
don't think he'll be happy with, to be honest. Similarly, Karan is hovering around the 109 scene. I mean, he's very consistent
Late
in the
108.
109s,
Yeah,
right? So he's
mid
very
109s.
consistent there.
Yeah,
And that's a good thing to have, right? So you start by being a little bit more consistent, and then you start to get a little bit more faster, which is obviously a
yeah.
very good sign.
I think, like, especially when if it's a track which you guys haven't raced on, I think what I would suggest is learn the track first and see how each corner is, and try to get a time which you think is possible from your end, a good time. You don't have to compare yourself to someone else. And once you get your goals right, I think you can slowly start improving. Because that is always what I do. I try to set a time which I can beat, and every time I beat that time, it helps me better improve the lap. So I think it's always better to set your goal and try to beat your laps than trying to compare it to someone else's lap and trying to reach that time. It's always helpful to
Yeah,
improve on your previous times than always going after something.
absolutely. That and another thing is, and there's something that has helped me as well is, let's say once this race is done, a lot of the people will just forget about it, right? But
Yeah,
save the replays. Save the replays. Look at the lines that the drivers are taking. Look at
others
their
have
inputs, right? You have all of this amount of data. Um,
exactly.
their braking inputs, their acceleration inputs, what kind of tires they were on, what kind of lap times they were setting. So it's just a treasure trove of information that you can just sit and absorb all of it. And the more you look at the faster guys, the more you get ideas. Oh, you know what? He takes this line instead of that line which I'm taking. So maybe I can try that. Right? So there's something that has helped me, and I think there's something that will help any other
Yeah, that
driver
that
as
always
well.
helps, especially when you are like watching someone else's replay. It's always very helpful, and you'll always learn something new. You might think, okay, you know the lines on this corner, but maybe someone else is taking it in a different gear and they're short shifting to get better grip and better exit. You might not be doing that, even though you might be following the same line. So all these things are like very useful when you're watching someone else race, and you can also see where they are like gaining time on you, right? So maybe there are a few corners, especially on a few corners where they are a bit quicker, and you can see, you can try to go back to the replay and see why there is. But there's definitely a lot to learn when you watch someone else race.
So yeah, while we were talking about that, Crispy is just overtaking
And I
Dinesh,
think,
which I don't think Dinesh
yeah,
is like letting go that easily. But yeah,
I
now he
think,
does. Now he
yeah,
does. I think Chris maybe have had his heart in his mouth for a moment there. Okay, fine. What's this back market doing?
I think it's
Um,
also like, I'm not sure if this is what Dinesh thinks, but I think if I was Dinesh, maybe if I'm not including on anyone else's lines, I might try to follow Crispy and see if I can match his pace, or without causing any issues, obviously. Because maybe that is what he was trying last time around. Maybe that is why we saw him have some issues with Solo. But that's the thing. You shouldn't exactly be causing any issues when you are a black market. But I guess that is what he was trying to do back then.
yeah, and Santosh also has a valid point that some of these break markers have been taken out, so people who rely on those
Hmm.
might get a little caught up. So,
And
and that's perfectly understandable.
yeah,
Tell me.
I think Junior Kick-Ass had another incident. Uh, so he's way back. He just spun out in front of Solo.
Let's see if our replay cameras caught that. Oh,
Oh, it did actually.
it just got the
Yeah.
spin. Not much, but he just gets overtaken. But that's fine.
Yeah, it's a very, I think T1, right? It all depends on what line you have taken to enter it. Because if you enter it at a very wide angle, there are chances you might get thrown out. I think that is what happened to because he went a bit over the class and ended up spinning out.
Absolutely. And while we're towards the end of the race, I think there's one thing that I'm really happy about, uh, which is obviously the fact that the tournament has started and we're going to have so much fun over the next few weeks. But I'm also really glad and happy about the fact that the guys at the back, sixth, seventh, eighth, they are not giving up. They're not quitting. They're not letting go of everything. Obviously, because they can get some points here, but it's very very important to stay in the race.
It
Do
is. And
as much as you can.
I think we have noticed this many times in our races. Usually people at the back just, decide to drop off. And I think it is always good sportsmanship to finish the race, irrespective of your standings, right? Whether
Yeah,
you're getting points or no points, you decided to enter it, so see through. Like, finish the race. Who knows? Maybe you might get more practice out of it. And even though you are at the back, you can try and beat your own times and see if you can improve further. That will help you a lot next time around. So there's always something for you to like learn and get out of it instead of just quitting.
absolutely, and that is something that I've said since the very beginning, right? Because the more you stay, the more you have the opportunity to look at what these guys are doing, as you said, right? And there's
Yeah,
also this motivation factor that you can then turn into something good for yourself. Because see,
exactly.
it might be bad
Yeah,
that you're 2 minutes behind the guy, but it's also a source of motivation that someone is 2 minutes faster than you. That means there is time to be gained. So if you are able to convert that piece of information into something nice, why not?
yeah. I think, and just as you're
Okay, it's
saying
just
it,
the final lap. Wildest Monk
Wildest Monk
wins the
takes to
race
win
by a margin, a huge,
by
huge margin.
16 seconds. Yeah, that's the huge margin.
Crispy Bacon takes second position. He's going to be very, very happy with that. Look at that.
Yep.
Just going off track. PSB gets
PSV takes
into,
P3.
and
Zolo
now
missed
we
out.
wait for Zolo. So Zolo is coming
It was
into
a bit
P4.
unfortunate.
And that's a good finish for him as well. So Dinesh was just behind Zolo, one lap down, finishes the race. Karan is coming through,
Karan takes P5.
and Junior takes P7 from him. So all of these guys have finished. This is Here's
And
our
it was a fantastic,
classification.
I think,
It was a fantastic race by Wildest Monk. What do you think?
Wildest Monk. Yep. P1 from the starting. I think he did in, I think just 2 laps, he did drop to P2, but throughout I would say 99% of the race he was P1. It's a very good finish by him. He should be really happy.
Absolutely. So there it is, guys. It has been such a pleasure to bring all of you this incredible showmanship in the race. We'll just go through our classification once again. So if you can just give me 1 second, I'll be able to pull up the classification and get you the race results. Okay, so the Wildest Monk in P1 driving the AMG GT3, Crispy Bacon P2 with the RCZ GR3, which is a very, very good result for him. He's about 16 seconds behind Monk. Not too bad, considering, as some people are claiming that Monk is a Group A driver, which I think he might be. Fierce B.
Yeah, I think to Crispy Bacon's credit, he was behind him pretty much throughout the first few laps, and he did make a mistake here and there. I think that's what cost him.
Absolutely.
And even his quali pace was very close.
His quali pace was superb, right?
Yeah.
That's something that he'd be really, really proud of. So
exactly.
Quick and quali, maybe it's time to get a little bit more consistent and match that pace into your race as well. All right, so third position is backed by Fierce B in the Supra, which is going to be a good sign. And I'm sure because all of the Group A guys are watching as well. So those guys are taking notes, seeing what these guys are doing. I'm sure they have their own strategies and all of that. But yeah, so and they're obviously looking at cars because for people who don't know, these guys chose their cars in qualifying, and they have to stick to that Group 3 car for the entire group session. So that's going to be interesting for some of the, let's say the Porsches and the slower Mazdas. So Zolo, speaking of the Mazda, is in fourth with the Mazda Vision GT3 concept, about 28 seconds the gap to him and Monk. Karan with the Porsche 911, 42 seconds behind Monk. Then we have Dinesh DB in the GR Supra again. Seventh goes to Junior, right? I'm not going to say the next name. Okay. It goes to Junior Kickass. We're not being monetized, don't worry. It goes to Junior Kickass, 1, 2, 3 in the Nissan GTR. About a lap down, and then burst mode with the Viper, which got such an amazing start.
He did
the line.
He was already up into P3, just out of the finish line. So I think he did have an incident in P1, if I'm not wrong. So that cost him everything.
And the fastest lap of the race was set by the Wildest Monk in the AMG GT3, a 107.5, which I think is going to have all of the Group A guys scared a little bit as well. Because when they actually see Monk in the finals, they know he's rapid.
That's a very good race pace for you to have. So, consistent 107 is very good.
Absolutely. So Santosh is pretty happy. His teammate Wildest Monk in Team J, he grabs the first victory. I think first of many. Yeah, and people are really, 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 really happy about Wildest Monk. So I think this is, all in all, a good race for not just Wildest Monk, but all the other guys as well. So as we come to a close for this stream, just want to remind you all that tomorrow at the same time we have the Group A race, and that is the big one to watch for. The qualifying that we did, the gap between the top guy in Group A and the last guy in Group A was just about a second, like 1.2 to 1.3 seconds, and that's about 11 people within that time. So it's going to be amazing. Pleb, your final thoughts on the race?
Yeah, I think this race definitely, with regards to Crispy Bacon, he definitely did surprise us with his pace. At least it surprised me. So his quali pace and his race pace, because he did have a few issues, he did lose out to Monk. But I think he definitely had a very good chance of coming P1 had he not made those issues. And it was definitely a great race to watch. And I think tomorrow's race, just like you said, it's going to be very exciting. So everybody, I think everybody is really hyped for tomorrow's race. They're all prepared. Everyone has practiced, and their laps are very close by. So we're going to have very intense race tomorrow.
Absolutely, and I'm looking forward to that race as well. It's going to be so close between all of those guys, and the top ones have been doing it for a very long time. But
Exactly.
yeah, so we'll see you guys tomorrow, same time. That's the qualifying starts at 10 p.m. Indian
Yep.
Standard Time. We would love to have you again. Come join us for the races for the next few weeks. We have some amazing stuff in stock for you. Until then, it's been Abhishek and Pleb. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I hope you all have a nice
Yep.
weekend.
Best of luck to all the guys who are taking part tomorrow. So see you all tomorrow, guys.